Have you all ever been designing an elaborate 4-input sequential combination lock which turns off water inside a vault, allowing you to coarse fruit in, only to realize that you have no coarse fruit? Well, I have a solution for you. So for those of you that don't know, coarse fruit is really a pain to farm. And the reason for that is because you have to plant what's called the coarse flower, and to get this, you can't just break them. They don't pop off. You can't just break the plant because they don't pop off. Instead, you have to hit these with some sort of projectile, and then they'll come off and you can actually replant them. So this is what I came up with. This is what I call my industrial coarse fruit farm. And honestly, it looks pretty simple, but there's a lot going on here. So how it works is the player sits in this minecart and they have an auto clicker on that just is right clicking, then placing blocks. It won't work without an auto clicker to my knowledge. So when they sit in that, the tripwire detects it, which starts a clock. Then every like 17 minutes, the machine fires. And when it fires, this happens. So we send up this flying machine above, which fills all these dispensers with snowballs. And as you can see, they just fly over, shooting down on every block. You'll notice that right now there's gaps in between. That's because of the way the hoppers are placed. When it comes back, it'll actually shoot where it's not shooting now and break all the flour. So it just keeps on going. The hoppers are refilling the dispensers, and then they get activated by these observers here. This observer line gets fired when it reaches a return station, which is kind of cool. Any second now. And now it starts heading back. A lot of snowballs get fired. And this is just spaced out. This is just spaced out to try to limit the lag. Those are ghost blocks. Don't worry about them. So this is optimized for Sim 4, but it can be about any sim. You can change it for any sim distance and just make it longer. So as you can see, it's now shooting where it didn't on the way over. It's breaking all the flowers first. Once it reaches a return station, you'll see all these plants start breaking, and then we send a minecart with the player, which would replant them. I don't have another account on right now, so you're just gonna have to trust me on that. You'll see the minecart going. Well, that's the return station real quick before it closes. So now it's docked, and we start making snowballs here, which refill all these hoppers, which refill the main hoppers. And here you can see all the plants breaking. The minecart should be going. It's in there somewhere probably. Well, not probably, it is. See if we can find it. Oh, yeah, you see it right there. So minecart goes. There's actually a coarse fruit resupply station there. I mean coarse flour, so the player doesn't run out in the inventory. So you can really make this as big as you want. The snowballs keep going. They reach this area here, and then they get launched along this way to fill up the rest of the hoppers. When the snowballs reach this back hopper here and it completely fills up, then these hoppers will raise, which will refill the main hoppers. You'll see that here in a second. And then we also shut off the snowball making machine. So any second now. Oh, also when these are filled, these hoppers lock and they stay locked. So really, the only hoppers that are not locked in this entire system when it's docked are these up in the front, because that would just be a pain in the ass. So you see those raise. All the rest of the snowballs burn. We shut off the snowball making machine. And over here you see the drops, and these are just getting sorted into 2x shulker loaders. These are technically my design, but they're inspired very heavily from, I think it was Addy, but I'm not sure. Basically all I did was change the front end and the back end a little bit to make it a little bit more compact. As of now, they're my favorite 2x shulker loaders. As you can see, you get just shulker boxes of coarse fruit there, and then a bunch of coarse flour there, and a bunch of coarse fruit here. The resupply station, so once the machine's over, it will drop all these down into a hopper here, and they just get recycled back through the system and end up back in storage. So you don't lose anything here. So the player would come through, they would replant all these, the timer would restart, then 20 minutes later the whole machine would fire again. Yeah, let's run it one more time just so we can see it fully in action again. So this is fully automatic. You have to do nothing. And here we can have a better look at the docking station. Now that the machine's out of the way. It's really nothing too complex. And the return. And these are just really simple return stations. So what it's doing is, ooh, it's laggy. It's basically just pulling. Actually, I'll just show you when it reaches back at this station. As you can see, it hits every block with snowballs. You do lose some on like the full-grown plants. So if you have like a flower here, a stem here, and a flower here, this one won't get broken, but it's negligible. Then we'll actually see the snowball machine start up this time. It does require a Ravager, so have fun with that if you actually intend on building this. I don't know, kind of a neat little design. So all these pistons here, you can see one there and one there. They have to move that way. This is, we can't really fit piston in this area or this one. We instead come above and we just pull them all with slime blocks, which is really a kind of a great. It's a pretty good solution as long as the timing's right, or else everything breaks and this piston gets pulled along with it, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But if you set it up right, you'll be fine. And I'm not gonna lie to you. The underside of this is an absolute travesty. I could do this so much better. And I'm working on a second design, but this is what I have right now. Basically, we just pull these blocks down and the flower breaks because of it. Minecart's back. I believe the snowball machine's off. Yeah. So, if you're looking at this and you're wondering, well, why not just replace the hoppers that are filling the dispensers with dispensers and shoot the dispensers every block? That would make a lot more sense. And I thought the same thing. But that's kind of tricky. I've gone through a few iterations here. And the main issue is that it just gets a lot more complex. So, because of the push limit, we're up against the push limit the entire time here. So, like, what would happen is an observer would be, I don't know, here. One second. Sorry. So, when this machine's going that way, the observer would be one block over to here. And then every block it would fire the dispensers. The issue is, on the way back, we're up against the push limit on this side of it. So instead of the observer riding back on this slime block, we have to put it here instead. And then because of that, there's a whole host of issues on this side. So for example, to get that observer from there back to where it needs to be when the machine's returning, we have to do something like this, which works. And as you can see now, the observer is where it needs to be, except obviously facing the other way. But you would have to do that for every, basically for every section. And this is expandable. It's possible. I can do this. It just would require a lot more wiring. Like this is compared to the return station over there, this is what you're looking at. Which, again, doable. It's just a lot more to go wrong. So, if anybody wants that, I can work on it. But as of now, this is much more doable, and this works fine. It's basically the same thing, except you can't really extend this to the sides anymore. So So it's pretty much the same thing, as you can see. Those aren't firing because there's an issue with slime blocks and hoppers and items. It's just a whole mess. I put in a bug report years ago. Maybe one of these days it'll get fixed. Yeah, so this works. This works great actually, but it's not expandable horizontally or to the side. I'll probably end up finishing this one up in the next few days if anybody wants a tutorial or anything on this. It's smaller, but honestly, who needs that amount of coarse fruit over there? I think this was more than enough for the average player. Yeah, so that's about all I have for you. This is a Bedrock Edition exclusive coarse fruit farm because we're using movable tile entities. I haven't seen another one that works quite like this before. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. At least, I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. It looks a little complex from this angle, but it's really not too bad. It took a while. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.